Okay. On to item number 13, discussion and consideration of a charter commission statement. And we'll turn that over to Carrie Wilkins. So we can adopt her commission statement if we so choose. I thought it was very well done.
Winthrop Town Charter Committee is proposing revisions to the current charter, aiming to incorporate the core values of respect, safety, trust, observability, communication, diversity, inclusion, and accountability. The committee seeks to address the needs and values of the community through this revision process. This effort involves actively engaging community members, ensuring they feel heard and can provide valuable input. The ultimate goal is to foster enhanced confidence in the Winthrop local government, both current and future generations.
Make a motion to accept.
All in favor? Next item on the agenda is Articles 1 and 2 of the town charter. Say that correctly, charter? Somewhere. I think Article 1's incorporation of powers of the town. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Does anybody have any discussion on that? Article 1? Keep that the same. Article 2 is a number of sections in Article 2.
Do you want to just do it like article, section, read section?
We could do that.
So we'll just start, and then do you want to pass each section?
Yeah.
Discuss?
Yeah.
We'll just do Article 1, Section 101, incorporation. Powers of the town. The inhabitants of the town of Winthrop shall continue to be a municipal corporation under the name of the town of Winthrop and shall have all powers that a municipality may have under the Constitution and laws of the state of Maine. Believe there's any comments from either the town attorney, clerk, or manager.
So is there any motions to keep that as is? We have to make a motion?
As well.
Second? Okay.
So we're going to go by section
Oh, we're at section 101.
101.
Okay.
Section 101, yeah.
I don't think anybody will have a problem with that.
No.
So do we want to vote on that?
You motioned to pass that. Andy seconded. All in favor?
Okay.
Sure.
So this brings us to Article 2, which identifies the town council and how the charter addresses that. We'll start with section 201, number, election, term. Town council shall be composed of 7 members, each of whom shall be elected by the registered voters of the entire town as provided in Article 8. Each member shall be elected for a term of 3 years and until his or her successor is elected and qualified, except that as the first election after the adoption of this charter, the 3 members elect receiving the next highest number of votes shall serve 2 years. The two members elect receiving the next highest numbers of votes shall serve 1 year. In case of an equal number of votes, the relative position of the members elect shall be determined by lot. And we do have comments on this section. The first one being the town manager, addressing the town attorney, saying that we should consider removing the initial established council votes because we are and have been established for quite some time, so it's no longer needed. Bill Saucier, the town attorney, says they agree and that the provision is no longer needed. So that would strike out everything after except.
Um,
Yeah, open for discussion.
Limits. No nepotism on town council. And no one on town council should provide services to the town as a council. No conflict.
Right now, we're discussing about some additions. Well, let's see, do we want to, can we get agreement on striking the,
Yes, I
okay, so we don't need that verbiage anymore.
make a motion to remove that section.
I think we, yeah, we'll just keep track of that and then make a section.
Right.
That's probably the easiest way to do it.
Right.
So, so additions, Bruce is suggesting term limits. Being on the floor, is there any discussion about term limits?
I'm not opposed to it, but what's the thought process behind 3 terms?
I think it provides freshness. There's no reason why a council member should be on council for 31 years. I mean, that's enough time. Nepotism, I think, can lend favor and corner votes. So I think by eliminating nepotism on the council, it gives a more clearer identity as to what council members can do. And doesn't put a lot of power in one person to be able to dissuade any kind of rational judgment that the other counselors might have.
Mhm.
I think that by providing term limits, no more than 9 years on council, if you're elected at 3 consecutive times, that's more than enough service for somebody to provide community service to. And if a council member is wanted to still be involved in town, there are plenty of committees for them to.
Are you aware of
That's
any,
my reasoning behind that.
do you know of any other councils that have term limits? Is that a normal? I have no idea if that's a normal thing in
I
the state.
I can only speak for the town of Winthrop.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, but I think we need more information. Something that, we have talked about doing research and going back to things. Just that
We're having a workshop.
it would be
Yes,
good
as we-
to get what other do. Is that good?
On the subject of limits, I think I like the 3-term thing. We'll need to clarify 2 things. One is if a person is elected or appointed to replace a counselor that has left before the term. Okay. Too many papers. Before their term's over, we might want to put in there that won't count. So in other words, I get appointed, I shouldn't say me, but if anyone got appointed and they had a year to serve someone else's term, then their 3-year period would start. Okay. And
Maybe
the other
maybe
question
we
is,
should Revise it to, they have to run for election, but no more, if they're elected, no more than 3 terms.
right. So, and then the other, because if you say 9 years, then someone's going to have to leave 2 years. If they get elected 3 times,
They can run no more than 3 times.
Well, that's 2 different things.
well, that's 2 different things. Yeah,
So if
well,
you have,
you could,
like he's saying, if we have to fill a vacancy in the town council, that first year that we fill that vacancy does not count towards a 3-year term.
Or a special
Yeah.
election that may not have a
Then the,
full 3. And also that is something that will be addressed later.
then,
Elections aren't-
yeah, and then the other part of that is,
Actions are cheap.
can a person, well, I'm not gonna say that, I'm gonna get me in trouble. Can a person, lose an election or not run again, then come back 3 years later?
Says consecutive at this time.
I'm just saying we need to clarify that.
Clear it up.
Okay, yeah, consecutive would clear it up.
Someone could run 3 years, not run, and then come back for the fourth,
Mm-hmm.
fifth,
Yeah.
and start over again.
And my next question is on the subject of nepotism. Can you be more specific?
I don't think that two relatives should serve on council together.
I don't know. I mean, that, again, we just have to keep
We
in
have a
mind.
counselor here for many years, who's passed away, Kenny Buck,
Hmm.
and his wife succeeded him as counselor. I don't know if that was through a general election.
No, initially it was an appointment, and that's just standing history is what's been done is the spouse of the decedent has been offered the seat until a special election. She did win the special election against me. And, but I don't know, we'd have to be careful about trying to say limit. I don't think we, like in Zach and his father's situation, I don't think you could put, I don't think we legally could prevent Zach from running and getting elected.
I mean, they
I mean,
both.
we
they
can
both-
defer to Anthony.
I-
Well, I'm just using him as an example.
I don't think you can either.
I don't think you can. I agree that it's problematic, but we could certainly look into it, right?
Anthony?
Yeah, so first thing about the term limits is I did work in a municipality that had exactly what Bruce is describing, 3 consecutive full terms. And then if someone served 3 consecutive full terms and they were off the council for a year, there was nothing that precluded them from running again. And if they were appointed to a partial term, there was nothing that precluded them from then running and serving for 3 consecutive full terms. So I think I understand that. And so what I'm happy to do is, again, go to the town manager listserv and find out what other communities have term limits and what they consist of, and then we can report back to you guys at your next meeting. As far as the nepotism is concerned, there's nothing in state law that precludes relatives from serving, but charters do supersede state law. And so if you guys wanted to have some provision, then you could do that. What I would suggest is that we be really clear as to what relationship you don't want to have. So there's already been sort of a discussion of a father and a son. Well, what about, someone and his brother-in-law? Or someone and her aunt, So I think in order, if you're going to go down that road, you just need to be very clear about the relationships, and maybe it's nuclear relationships that you don't want to have on the council at the same time versus.
Show, Anthony, that was my next comment. We do need to define the degree of the relationship. So how far does it go? Does it go to son? Does it overstep son or?
So in
much?
other words, it
Or does it
needs,
go to first
clearly
cousin?
needs to be defined.
Yeah, whatever it
But
is.
you gotta
needs
put it
to
in
be-
a charter.
So that brings me,
Get that out of Phil.
I mean, is everybody on the committee in favor of that, or?
Well, I think, one comment I want to make about nepotism is the perception that the people get from that, right? It's like, got a father and son on the council, and I'm not saying it's wrong or it's right, but the perception that you give the public is, they go to have dinner and they're going to talk about this issue, right? I mean, you hear those comments, right?
I
So
hear that from a lot of constituents.
exactly. So that's the perception that it gives the community could be not good for the town council. Deb, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out quickly, you couldn't prevent them from both taking out nomination papers, depending if one was not elected, then,
if they're running against.
right, but if you wanted to go ahead and put a provision in there, you could, do so. If they were both elected, then one would have to choose. So, I mean, you'd have to think that through. You can't assume that they're both going to get elected, because if they're registered voters, they're both eligible to take out nomination papers. So that does need more thought process in it. Just wanted to point that out.
If I could propose maybe looking at, instead of the elections, which I think are going to be very hard to regulate, as you just mentioned, but perhaps looking at the appointments I think that's maybe an easier way of looking at trying to constrict this where you can't appoint, some level of relative to a certain board from the council. I think that's a much easier way of looking at this than having to regulate somebody's choice of elections. For all you know, a son may not be in good terms with their parents and they want to run for council because they want to change things too. I don't think it's always necessarily
Well,
nepotism, so.
Full disclosure, okay, my niece, which would be my brother's daughter, serving currently on the planning board, and my son is serving on the school board, okay? And the fact of the matter is that both of those positions, right, stepped up to serve because no one else did.
Agreed.
Okay? You need to be really careful about how restrictive, and we deliberately don't discuss school board issues or, planning board issues, okay? I think that might be going a bit too far. I'm more concerned with, the elected town council. And as Jim said, the public appearance of having close family on the council.
The other side of the coin of that, though, is the people of the town of Winthrop voted them in.
Correct.
Knowingly or
true.
not unknowingly, they voted them in. So that's a hard thing to control. I mean, if they're both running, right? So if we do something in the charter, we really have to spell it out clearly.
I'd like to propose that we research this more, come back to it,
I'm-
because we have other things we need to.
I'm good with all the research.
Does anyone?
Maybe Anthony can find out how many towns actually have those restrictions.
Do you want to be in charge of that nepotism research? I
I
think Anthony would be the best candidate.
Yeah, we'll look into that. And so we'll check both with the attorney
Yeah.
and with other towns to see what there are. And one thing I should have mentioned in regards to term limits, and it would also apply to this instance as well, is let's say that a charter change was approved that prohibited nuclear family members from serving on the council at the same time. And let's say we have a father and a son serving at the same time. That doesn't mean that one of them automatically gets kicked off. It just means that once one of their terms end,
Right.
yeah.
Station. Oh, you have to resign. No,
Oh, no.
I wasn't expecting that to be an immediate thing.
Yeah.
But moving forward,
Yeah, and the same would be true, well, at least in my experience. So the municipality that I spoke about earlier implemented term limits, and that 3-year term limit began at that time. So let's say that that term limits were approved as part of the changes to the charter. That doesn't preclude Andy, for instance, for running for 3 consecutive terms moving forward. It doesn't sort of, it's not retroactive to the terms that he's already served.
I want to.
would be the date of inception of the new charter.
Correct.
Well, I think going out to other appointed boards and committees is going too far. I don't think we have the pool of volunteers to restrict that. We really don't. And the possibility, the problem here on the council is we make some pretty big decisions for the town. And the public's perception can be very easily, that there's a 2-person voting block right there. All right.
Yeah.
And that's,
Again, it lends back to what Jim said as far as perception with the general public.
right.
Regardless of whether they were voted in or not, I mean, this
Exactly.
will go into effect and won't affect anybody that's currently seated. But these provisions have to be injected so that they can be implemented at a future date.
Right, but are we talking about just this elected board, or you want to do this townwide?
I think it would I think it should be just for town council, to be honest with
I
you.
agree.
They're making the decisions, and those are the ones that immediately are affected by constituents.
I'm on board with that, so.
think they're all great points, but it is 6:22 and we all,
So you're going to
sitting with the lawyer is a really good idea.
make a motion then to table section
Section
201, oh, sorry, yeah, 201, number, election, and term, pending clarification on definitions with nepotism, and legality of being able to make, in term limits.
Term limits and also conflicts of interest. Would that be under those provisions too? So you can't
So-
provide services to the town and charge them and be on town council.
We have,
You have to choose one or the other.
I
do
I
have
think you're
an
in the right article, but I think that would be a different section because right now we're just talking
Okay.
about
we have
uh, the
Qualifications.
term.
Qualifications, thank you. I'll resend that.
Anthony?
need a second. Or someone needs to make the motion, I guess. Sounds like
Make a
Carrie was
motion
making
that
the
we
motion.
table for discussion until our next meeting, section 202, with regards to qualifications. Oh, 201, I'm sorry.
Number, election, and term.
I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. Section 201, number, election terms.
Second?
All in favor?
Next is section 202, qualifications. Council members shall be registered voters of the town and shall reside in the town during their term of office. They shall hold no office of emolument or profit under the town charter or ordinance. If a council member shall cease to be a registered voter of the town or be convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude or class of a crime punishable by imprisonment of 1 year or more, his or her office shall immediately become vacant. And there are,
There are comments on qualifications.
So would you
mean-
interpret that convicted of the crime as doing their term in office or a whole big background change?
Attorney Did say, the reference to a class of crime provides a clear standard. Otherwise, the council would need to vote to make such a determination. So it sounds like, the recommendation would be to be more specific about a class of crime.
Yeah, so what I changed in that would be if a council member ceased to be a registered voter of the town, be convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude, murder, class A, B, C, or D crime. So that kind of spells it out
So this would be during their term as counselor.
during their term as a council member.
So the only clarification I think we need that they didn't discuss was this, it says conviction. And then you would have to then determine whether on appeal, that is something that would proceed waiting until appeal or something like that. Otherwise, I think that would go to the council. Is that correct, Anthony?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
So if someone is convicted of a crime and then appeals that conviction, we would have to clarify whether or not that is going to stem either just from that conviction period or if on appeal.
Well, if he's,
I am not an attorney and I didn't sleep in a Holiday Inn Express last night. So I think I need to ask Mr. Sochier his opinion on that.
was his comments. So she was
He just said he
to specify,
agreed that it needed to be a class of crime that would provide a more clear standard for the removal.
which we've added that in there. Make a motion, yeah,
I think that needs to be researched, especially with the class of crime. And I'm not sure, so I'll reach out to Phil. If you're convicted of a Class A felony in the state of Maine, do you lose your right to vote?
No. I believe Maine has that as a,
I don't know.
Okay.
sorry, Deb, you were saying
Apologize.
section 202, research term limits. So we're going to change that from section 201 to section 202? You think it would apply? Does that make sense?
On section 202, Deb, I didn't mean to go out of order. Would that also include providing services and charging for services to the town? Okay, then I would like to see that put in section 202 in accordance with what I'm saying as well.
Yeah, but you saying term limits should be in 202?
As it would become a qualification for you.
Oh,
Ability to run.
yeah, correct,
No,
correct.
I think when you're talking about term limits, you're talking about terms. So I think that should be in section 201.
The
right.
nepotism,
Nepotism and conflict should be in 202.
I agree.
correct?
I
yes.
agree with that.
Yes, I apologize. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Well, the doing business with the town and, there's nothing that precludes you from adding a section. And I'm not so sure that that would be a qualification, because the qualification speaks to whether or not you're eligible to run and be elected. And I think the scenario that Bruce is describing is you're already in office and then you're precluded from doing this other thing.
What I would like to see, and going by some input from our members present tonight, is regardless, you provide a service to the town. You should not run for town council into a elected position. I
So,
mean, you can run for anything else, any committee or anything else you want to, but you shouldn't run for a council position if you're providing a service to the.
And I think the president of the United States, at the very least, has to put his businesses into whatever you call it.
So the-
Someone else runs it, okay?
there is
Why should,
a state statute already, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. There is a state, and I only know this because I ran when I was an EMS provider, so I had to go through that. There is a state statute already that defines emolument or profit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we can actually remove that and then just defer to the state statute, which does address, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong.
It
if
does,
you
but
profited under the ability. I mean, providing a service would be like also say someone plowed a town driveway or something. So that might be the,
Yeah, I think there's if you look at most boards, there's a conflict of interest form you have to sign, which essentially covers all of those items. I'm happy to provide that to.
yeah.
Explain.
So Bruce, are you trying to get to potential conflict of interest? Is that what your concern is?
Absolutely, I think that sometimes, oftentimes, yeah, I have landscaping. I've got 6 or 7 people that I do landscaping for. And now, I want to do the. Would be a little bit sus.
Yeah. So just so you folks know, I mean, there are statutes that do address this. And what typically happens is if an elected official is in that sort of position, they simply abstain from the discussion and the decision as to, whether or not to award that piece of business to that elected official and his or her business.
then there is a threshold because there's a purchasing policy. And to be honest, I've forgotten what the threshold is on that. But,
Well, so there are different types
Well,
of processes for bidding depending upon the value of the good or service that we're purchasing. But in this instance, and I have seen before where elected officials just like get up from the table and either go and sit in the back of the room or they leave the room completely so as not to provide any sort of appearance that they're influencing the discussion or the vote in any sort of way. So there's just a lot of different ways that you could potentially
it doesn't have to
address
be
that issue.
specific. I think that might be what Bruce is getting at. If you, if certain people choose to seek favor with a counselor, in certain people in town government, then, as long as they keep it below the threshold of the purchasing policy, they can just go ahead and say, purchase goods from that person.
This is also addressed in the town council code of ethics policy that was adopted last year. So,
the rules of, but this would supersede that. That
Yes,
would take the
yeah.
flexibility out of the council to make their own rules.
yep, that's correct.
That. And then remember, anything we pass here has to get approved through the council. So
Right.
just keep that.
These are all recommended
I think it'll be,
changes to the charter.
Well, I have to remind you all, I was on town council during the mooring committee. And we were at loggerheads. I mean, it was bad. People were upset, they were yelling and screaming. We put it into a committee. And the town council swore that they would abide by what the committee recommended. And we did, and we passed the mooring ordinance. So, I mean, I think in those situations, and in this scenario especially, where we have the ability, and if council doesn't approve that, it's to their, it's not in their best interest not to abide by what we're recommending. if we all agree on it, and we have to agree by majority.
So, Mr. Chair, we'd be happy to draft a separate section on this that titled maybe conflicts of interest that both maybe references state statute, the code of ethics, and provide some language to get to what Bruce is trying to achieve here. So we could draft something
We
up.
appreciate that.
We could draft something up for your consideration at your next meeting.
Great, thank you.
I mean, I don't want this to go out there and have the appearance of singling someone else out. So, well, I'll just talk about myself 10 years ago, okay? I own a marina and I offer, and I'm on the town council, and I offer a free dock space to the fireboat, okay? Now, that can be nepotism of the worst part, you know, I mean, I don't think that should be allowed. You know, if you run for town council, there's some situations and circumstances that you can't participate in, okay? I mean, you know, or if I have I wanted to sell a boat to the town and I'm on the town council, I should be prohibited from doing that. Because it's just too much, you know.
Well, I think just to comment on that, I think we have a lot of small business in
I
town.
know we do.
You have some big business in town that do business with the town. I don't think you want to prevent people that pay taxes in this town not be able to do business with the town.
That's a
As long
good
as it's
point.
fair and competitive. And, if it's major, I'm sure it goes out to bid. I don't know what the exact purchase policy is in the town of Winthrop. I should, and I will. But, I mean, I think people that are paying taxes in the community, if you're on the town council, putting your time in and you can't do business with the community,
Well, let's try this.
I don't know.
Anthony, do you remember what the threshold is on the purchasing policy for, where you have discretion to buy things up to a certain amount without bringing it before the council?
10,000.
No, it's greater than that. It's like $50,000.
So you could spend up that much without asking us?
Well, it depends if it's been budgeted or not. So,
Yeah.
but even an expenditure less than that, we would still put through the bidding process. So,
Is it the bidding that's 10,000?
well, so there are different levels of bidding, and so that bidding actually begins at 5,000.
Okay.
It goes out to a competitive bid.
We could say in the
Yes,
case of,
and 5,000, we're not going through a formal bidding process
Right,
for
you just
a
get
$5,000
prices.
expenditure, but we're gathering quotes. And
So
then it
we-
escalates from there.
so what we could say is, I'm just trying to weasel a way out of this without, you're right, people, just because you join the town council and volunteer doesn't mean you should be precluded from selling things to the town. So then let's just say people that are serving in public office in the town, this would be purchases from them or their business would be full disclosure. Okay, so right now with the purchasing policy, like Anthony has discretion, and I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that he's abusing that discretion, but I'm just saying once again, it's perception. So for people who serve on the town council, okay, it's a full disclosure on whether it's $10 or $10,000.
So I'm thinking, circling back, because we have to give Deb and Anthony like actionable things to do essentially, is you had talked about
I think the conflict of interest or the code of ethics recommendation will cover all of this. to be
Yeah,
honest
and
with you, so.
then we can provide some additional language for you to consider. So we'll lay out some different options for you. But just to answer your question, so Deb just looked it up online. So it's $25,000 is when the formal bidding process begins.
Like we said, in the case of elected officials, they plan on doing business with the town or selling something to the town. That has to be a full
So,
disclosure at the
yeah.
meeting, at a town council meeting, Anthony or.
I think all invoicing should be made public. If it's being paid with my tax dollars, I want to see where I'm being
Right,
paid.
well, that's just it, full disclosure. I mean,
There's no privacy.
All right.
I'll give,
Absolutely. And Anthony, as Anthony said, in other experiences, they leave the room. You know? And so they're, just by facial expressions, they're not influencing anything. They have to disclose that. Like that snarl that you just gave me. That's okay.
All right, so let's see what Deb and Anthony come up on that one.
You see Shannon's post.
We can keep it simple. Well,
Oh, is that Deb's post?
Shannon had just posted what the process was. So you can look at that.
I think we need to change
And
that.
then, well, do we need to, I mean, that's really not a charter issue, I don't think. But where we're at right now, circling back, is we want to get additional language. Probably we should start including statutes that address the emolument and everything else like that, put in there with the language. So we have that at the next meeting, so you guys will be able, I won't be here at the next meeting, but you guys should be able to act on that, I think. And make passage for those sections. So for now, I guess, we're looking at another table for section 202, as long as you have a clear idea of what moving forward with. Just need a,
202.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Deb, do you need any, so Carrie made the motion. The second was Bruce, and then all that are present were in favor. And we move to section, and do you guys need clarification? You have pretty good guidance. Yep, okay. Section 203, powers and duties. The members of the town council shall be the municipal officers of the town of Winthrop. And we have subsection 203. And then this is a subsection 203.1. They shall appoint and remove for just cause the town manager, assessor, and town attorney, members of the Board of Assessment Review, the Board of Appeals, the Planning Board, trustees of the Water and Sewer District, and trustees of the Cobussy Water District. And then section 203.2, by ordinance create, change, and abolish offices, department, or agencies other than the offices of tax administration and the Board of Education.
I have two issues. First of all, 203.1, another committee member said, change the town attorney to contracted law firm as far as verbiage. And secondly, to remove tax administration as that department does not exist.
We have comments from the town manager, which address that as well. Attorneys, the term town attorney can refer to a specific person, commonly now a firm, although the council can still appoint a particular person, the lead attorney for purposes. This should likely stay in that the council has the authority to appoint the town attorney as the town attorney. Typically, not any particular board official. I believe it's a recommendation. She says to because
our contract with the town is not with a specific attorney, it's with the law firm. Our town contract with the law firm. So if we feel that, we might want to change attorneys or something, not that I feel that way at this point, but if that should come up, we should be able to ask that law firm that we are paying to provide someone, say, with a little more expertise or a little more expertise in a slightly different field.
Or a contracted law firm.
Well, we could change the whole contracted law firm too.
It's just a verbiage change.
Yeah, but just contracted law firm instead of town attorney is what I would like to see changed.
so maybe contracted legal representation.
With a contract.
So it's more broad?
Law firm, a town contracted law firm.
Anthony?
Yeah,
And Shane, you
at
wanna-
that point, I don't know that that would sort of qualify as an appointment since it's a contract. So,
I mean, doesn't this give the authority for the town now to change law firms? I mean,
I almost think, well, it's weird because it's kind of directing the members of the town council as to do, I mean, it's really in their
It's in
power
their
to do it.
purview, and
a
it's
little
not
weird.
uncommon for most
I feel
boards.
weird about this whole thing, like why why are they discussing about, it should say, they shall appoint or remove for just cause any appointed or, you know, person, right?
One of the problems is,
Not make it
Well,
more-
so the reason for that is technically the town council has 3 employees: the town manager, the assessor, and the town attorney. So that's why those 3
Well, and the trustees are appointed.
are in there.
Should
Yeah,
just
but
put
they're-
in any trustee, right? Instead of having to, can't we just say, because the library trustees aren't in here, they ought to be probably.
No, because they're elected officials.
That's right.
And so the reason town manager, assessor, town attorney is in there is because those are the 3 people that the town council actually hires. And then the other members of the board, and then it lists the boards. And so one of the things that I said is that should we list all the committees, and the town attorney said, yeah, we should probably list all of the committees to which the council makes appointments. You would, but at that point, it's a much easier process than what you're doing right now. So there's a difference between amending the charter and then revising the charter.
We can't be more broad and say all committees.
Oh, I guess you could, I guess you
think
could
that's
do
what I
that.
would.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I still might leave in the trustees of the Winthrop Utilities District simply
Sure.
because it's a separate entity that's quasi-governmental.
Clarification. You
Don't
said,
forget-
oh, Shayna Dulac, yada, yada.
I didn't hear you.
Shayna Dulac. Just for clarification, you said town attorney encompass whether an individual or a law firm. So if you change it and you don't go from a law firm but to an individual attorney, you're going to screw yourself over in the future and have to change the verbiage again. So just keep it as is since it encompass at all. Or you can even add at all at the end.
Well, actually, the way I look at it is the vice versa is true too. If you have a town attorney and you label it a town attorney and he has a substitute come in, which just happened last month. So what do you do then? But you're delineating whether you're working with a town attorney or a law firm. It depends on whose diction
Yeah,
I like to see it do that in court.
Right. I do think it may serve, and I understand Phil's comment, but I do think it may serve to broaden and be more just say that the town council shall, appoint, remove, or maybe we should just put in negotiate in good faith for contracting legal representation.
But you could also say town attorney and or law firm.
Does
That would cover both.
I kind of
There you
like
go.
that one.
Problem solved.
Problem solved.
Thank you, Meg.
Does-
The
Anthony,
thing
does that
is,
make
and
sense? You
this
guys-
is not speaking against our current representation. This is,
Oh.
attorneys have different specialties.
Right.
And many are generalists, but even the generalists will have different niches. Okay, so, we want the ability to ask for someone with a specialty or a solid background on a particular problem. We want to be able to do that. We don't want to be restricted to a specific person.
Municipal government.
Right.
Pass the same bar examination, but just like a doctor, you go into special
Right,
brain surgery, dentistry.
right.
So are we going to add all committees,
I would, yeah, so we would add
all
or
special committees?
all town committees. All committees, board, well, yeah, committees.
Appointed by the
Boards and committees are
council.
appointed by the council.
Yeah.
Right, because the
All
school board is
appointed
elected.
Committees or commissions by town council.
Yeah,
Do we have a list of all the committees?
I could probably try to ramble it off my head, but I'm on the chair of the appointments, but not all are full either, so.
That goes back to what I said earlier, we need to be really careful about, getting, picky and making too much of a public spectacle of bringing people into our committees because we don't have enough volunteers as it is.
Did we just clean up the language?
Yep.
Comma and assessor, town attorney, members of the board, assessment review. At the end, trustees of the Cobbsey Watershed District. Proper grammar.
Okay, we'll clean it up.
And 2032 is remove tax administration. Because we don't have that department, so we'll get rid of that. That should take care of 2032. Should take care of 203.
Does everybody feel comfortable with those changes?
He's good.
Suggest I would say a motion to accept the changes in 203.
Motion to accept the changes in 203.1 and eliminate 203.2.
Well, it's just the.
No, just tax administration.
Why are we eliminating 203.2?
And-
Because there is no tax administration. Is there?
But we do have a Board of Education.
There's more in it.
All right. So resend.
Amend your motion just
eliminate the motion.
to get rid of the tax administration.
Right, tax
203.2.
administration.
And we have a.
Nick, second. All in favor?
So we should not have to come back to that necessarily. All right, section 204, compensation. Council members shall receive $20 for each council meeting upon attendance not to exceed in the aggregate $750 per year in full for their services. Such compensation may be changed, should say by referendum at the regular municipal election, and any such changes shall be effective for all council members on January 1st of the year following the regular municipal election at which such salary change was approved. Discussion.
Make a motion that the town council receives no pay. I think most of us,
It's to pass the council too. Just remember that. I care, but it does happen. Discussion.
Discussion about no pay for the town
I
council.
think the current compensation is $300 per year.
We did get supportive documentation. Is that in our
Yeah,
package?
so if you look there, what I did was I consulted the town manager listserv and just asked my peers to send me how much,
I looked at it.
how much they pay their elected officials, and Winthrop is almost at the rock bottom. I don't think that there was any community that paid less than what we did per meeting, and most communities had a higher cap than what we did.
Discussion. Let's see.
Not that I'm aware of, but we should also discuss that. I believe if we voted to implement it, it would not be allowed to be implemented under our tenure, right? It would have to be the next. That makes.
I have a question for the town manager. Would you happen to know the average that the towns in Maine pay?
Well, just among the respondents, Mr. Zato, that I got to in that spreadsheet, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,500, $3,000 per year. So most communities pay an annual stipend. And I saw some eyes get big there, but and of course, they don't have a town manager there. And so
Select board, right?
yeah, it's a three-member select board in that community. And so, you know, just again, just again to provide some, and it's all over the map. It doesn't necessarily even relate to population, but just to provide some context, and Andy and Aaron and Bruce could speak to this probably better than I could, but if you're doing the job and doing it well and doing it right, you invest a lot of hours into it.
As I understand,
like
I
it-
tried to donate. We're not allowed to donate back to.
Put somewhere in middle ground and just say, have opt not to receive pay if that's.
It's historic.
Oh, Dave, that's not our town.
You could donate it back.
Oh,
We're able to
Could
do that.
donate it back. I mean,
Want to
that
split
would,
it and, just
could.
put it in the charter and say, no, don't accept.
I think we
that.
should leave section 204 alone and keep the compensation $300 a year.
I just wanted to point out quickly that we pay our planning board members $15 per meeting, if that gives you any context. Wanted you to know.
Well, we pay the
assigns
board
that?
members
Where's the
too, I think.
authority for that, because that's not in here. Council did. That should be in the charter, in my,
Well, why don't we just put in there, councilors may opt out of being paid?
I thought there was a legality issue there that we could not do that.
They always.
Because I inquired
told me
before with the
we had to change
finance
the charter.
department and she
Yeah.
said no.
Yeah, there may well be some statutory language that speaks to that. I have to ask Mr. Socher about it, but there's nothing that precludes a council member from donating their pay to the library or the firefighters association or the police association. So, so there are options. You just have to just write a check to those for the amount that you received.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Like to leave section 204 regarding compensation as is 300.
Yeah.
Second by Andy, all in favor?
Okay, just to clarify though, it's not exactly what the article says right now. It's $20 per meeting, capped at 750. So typically the council meets twice a month, but during budget season, we're meeting on an almost weekly
We're
basis.
just
So,
leaving it at.
so that's,
Keeps
Second.
Just leave it as is.
All in favor?
205, induction of council into office. The town council shall meet at usual place on the first Monday in January.
Monday in January, because you have 2 meetings a month now, right? I think that would clean that up.
those were temporary. One was proposed to be a
Workshop.
workshop and these
Yeah, it has been.
was only a temporary, but they've accepted and adopted.
We do
I
have,
started that when I took over as chair because we just couldn't get everything done. Then we drifted a little and we starting to have 2 council meetings and then I had a conversation with Anthony and we pushed it back so that we had a council meeting and a workshop.
section 207 also has that more defined.
Right.
So
This
that's
is specifically talking about the swearing in, right? The
Yeah,
induction.
just the swearing
Yeah.
in. We should be more broad then and say no later than there's this last Monday or something like that.
Third Monday.
We meet on the 1st and 3rd. So,
Right?
Or first Monday or third Monday of the month.
It's up to you guys.
Well, that's covered in section 207, correct?
Not the,
Meetings are.
not the,
The induction of the council into office is 205. Taking oath prior to the meeting, removing just the peace and replacing that with town clerk.
Hey, would-
Right,
Yeah,
just,
so-
re-
so-
just re-
What I mean, I think.
get rid of just the peace.
Right now, we're,
Not trying to curry favor, but,
we'd be
you know,
striking out justice of the peace
Going, yep,
and no later than the
third Monday in
third
January.
Monday of January of the city.
Did you want to make it a town clerk? That allows the
Maybe go
deputy
ahead.
clerks to do it.
So January of 2026, I'm just going off of that really quickly, has 4 Mondays. And if you're doing it by the 3rd, you're taking off a week. And for companies and organizations that go January to January for their year, there's some people who, or not even January, if they go from July to July, you might be having people who are on vacation past the 1st and 2nd. They might be on vacation until maybe the 7th or 8th. So that's 1 week gone, potentially. So then if you're doing it to the 19th, that's only giving someone potentially 2 weeks. So keeping it at the 1st February, Monday, that's giving someone 4 potential weeks to get sworn in some shape or form.
Doesn't say, also doesn't say,
No, it gives, but it's giving them
No, but-
4 potential weeks as opposed to maybe 3 or 2. So you're giving them almost a 30-day grace period to say, hey, you have 30 days to kind of get your stuff together. If you take away a week, it's less than 30 days. And 30 days is kind of that average equalizer.
what is the first actionable meeting that a new elected counselor can take action?
It would be the first Monday in January,
So-
unless, you know, the holiday falls on that, and then it would be whatever date that the council sets for that first meeting. But there's also nothing that would preclude someone who's been elected to take their oath of office after the last meeting that is conducted in December. So that adds a few days to it. So I think by the 3rd, and it also doesn't necessarily have to occur at a meeting. So they could come in between the 1st and 3rd meetings and, well, they need to be sworn in before they're able to serve and vote. But they could come in, if they're not at that first meeting, they could come in after that and not necessarily have it be the 3rd meeting. So, and we have had counselors who have chosen to do that, just to simply come into the office as opposed to do it at the meeting.
Can you take an oath of office in the hospital?
I don't know why you couldn't, as long as a clerk is present, yeah. I just wanted to point out that the counselors' terms that they're replacing end December 31st. And so should there be an emergency between January 1st and whenever they're sworn in, you know, it might be prudent to make it so they could do it as soon as that final meeting takes place in December.
So yeah, I think we probably need to clean up the verbiage, make it less and more, yeah, less restrictive.
Yeah.
Say, to be, just have to do it before this. Certainly don't want someone who's elected to wait.
I think, I hope nobody's been keeping an eye on me, but I'm pretty sure in all the time I've been on the council, I might have missed 2 meetings, no more. Okay, and I think that when you run for election, you make a decision to make the town council a priority in your life. So if you run for election and prevail, you should be able to make it to get appointed either the 1st Monday or the 3rd Monday. Okay, or if the schedules change, whichever Monday during that 1st month, the meeting is held. I don't think there's leeway on that. If you run for election and there's things in your life that are going to interfere, then you just shouldn't either change those things or don't run for election.
So I think this also needs some distinction. If unable, I mean, there should be verbiage in there. What's the consequence for not being able to get sworn in, right? Should be forfeiture of your,
To the next
to the next,
required votes.
correct. And that really should be in here since we're having a section that really kind of gives that authority. So we need to do that as well, I think. Basically saying, you have the elected, so it'd be council member elect should be sworn in no later than, say, the
Third Monday in January.
Monday in January, and therefore, if not, in forfeiture of their
Forfeit their seat.
position, and then
Make a motion on.
yeah, I guess, yeah. Motion. All right, I'll make a motion for section 205, the induction of the council into office, to strike out justice of the peace and to add, or I should say, to constrict the verbiage that should a council member elect be unable to attend the meeting on the first Monday. Actually, Deb, do you want me to say,
I think we should
Elected.
remove the justice of the peace.
okay,
Use
perfect.
town clerk or deputy.
Okay,
clerk.
okay. And then no later than the third Monday of January, if unable to or unwilling or whatever to get sworn in, forfeiture of that seat then should go to the next highest.
Well, we need to check
Person.
with the attorney. on
Yeah,
that.
I mean, you can put an asterisk next to that, but that'll be the gist of it.
A second.
All in favor?
Two oh six, council to judge qualifications of its members. The council shall be the judge of the election and qualification of its members, and for such purposes shall have the power to subpoena witnesses and require production of records, but the decision of the council in any such case shall be subject to review by the courts.
I'm not even sure why that's even in there. I mean, every citizen of the town,
I'm
you know,
thinking that my guess is that it's basically saying that you have to prove that you're a resident of, in voter in the municipality that you're running, and that the council
But-
has the ability to then subpoena records.
well, then
to
let's put
prove
that in there instead of just using a vague term like qualifications.
I don't ask me. All you have to do right now is say, I'm a citizen of Winthrop. How are you going to prove that I'm a citizen? What if I leave halfway through my term and I refuse to show you where I'm paying property taxes or something like that? Then what is the recourse of the town? That's what it's in there for.
Right.
Yeah. No,
I'll agree to let that be. I'm okay with that.
So just with the capabilities of technology, with people who snowbird or people who run Airbnbs and stuff like that, you may have someone that will come here for maybe 6 or 8 months and not actually be a resident. So we
it has to be a
should,
voter. You have to, that's.
you have to be a voter. Maybe they won't be a registered voter, but they might
Right.
become a registered voter for the time being and not actually be here. They might, hop, skip and jump around. And that has happened in previous elections, not particularly here, but in other places.
Yeah, so I think it probably.
Remain in the charter as is.
I'll give it to you.
All in favor?
All in favor? Okay.
In 207, regular meetings, the council shall meet regularly once in every month at such times and places as the council may prescribe by rule. Special meetings may be held on the call of the chairperson or of 4 or more members by causing notification to be given in a manner provided by the council. All meetings shall be public except as provided in the laws relating to the freedom of access. 1 MRSA, section 401 et sec, and amendments thereto. I don't think that's the correct.
No, I think it's section.
We have to clean that up a
403.
little bit. Their comments?
Yeah, so if you've got a color coded one, that blue writing is actually from the town's attorney. So aside from his changes, in our opinion, the only thing that needs to be adjusted is just
The Okay.
shall meet at least once a month. I mean, we're now meeting twice a month, but at a bare minimum, the council needs to meet at least twice a month. I mean, excuse me, once a month.
At least once a month.
I would say, well, having been the one that actually did make that change, that we should put in there that we meet on the first and third. Okay,
That would supersede the ability for the council to make any delineation between that. Meaning they wouldn't be able to say, well, let's,
then we'll say at least twice a month. Don't put the dates in. Or we could say typically the first and third.
I think it's generally, I think once per month allows the council some leeway depending on the month and, yeah. Always do more. Yeah.
Once a month. It's council. So
Right.
I think you need the ability
The
to.
council can make that change.
because it was necessary to accomplish all the business.
Right.
so
And Bruce is 100% correct, but there are times where, as
in budget
someone said, that, well, there are times where we meet more than twice a month, but there's also, like this month, the council's only meeting once just because of how people's schedules are working out. December, depending upon how the holidays fall, sometimes in December, you meet only once a month. At the end of budget season, everyone's sort of a little exhausted of one another. And so we may, after we're finished with the budget, we may only meet once that month. So as Matt said, I think it is good just to provide the council some flexibility to determine what's best, but at a bare minimum, need to be meeting at least once a month.
The way this is written, it's probably a little bit restrictive, but just suppose said one or more times a month. It says once a month.
So then I guess a suggested motion would be that the council shall meet regularly at
At
least
least once a month.
once every month at such times and places may be prescribed by rule, special meetings, blah, 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 blah. And then fixing the wording for relating to executive sessions in the main freedom of access law
Section.
with that corrected. Is that good? Motion to make those changes?
All in favor?
Section 208, chairperson. The council shall elect from among its members a chairperson and a deputy chairperson, each who shall serve at the pleasure of the council. Chairperson shall preside at meetings of the council, shall be entitled to vote on all questions, and shall be recognized as head of the town government for all ceremonial purposes, but shall have no administrative duties. The deputy chairperson shall act as chairperson during the absence or disability of the chairperson. I don't know what the notes, if there are any.
There's some notes on here. Yeah. That was from Anthony. Change the vice chair. Yes. And then we had it, I think Anthony added that we should do that the first meeting in January. Is elect the chairperson and the vice chair. Yep.
Should that be dictated by the charter? No?
That's been tradition.
The only other thing I was going to say is that there is some state statutes that address responsibilities that default to the chairperson. We should probably have some of that. Yeah, it's,
You're gonna have to educate me, such as,
there's not an appointed health official in town. It defaults to the chairperson. And there are other, like,
well, I mean, if that's covered by state statute, then I think we should be good.
all right.
section.
Right, and then we don't need to add, we need to add, yeah, we had changed the vice chair. But I don't, do we, do,
That would be, do you think you send? Administrative duties, authorities?
signing over council meetings?
Does that make sense?
Make a motion.
Second it?
All in favor?
Okay, that's section. 9 is quorum. A majority of the legally constituted town council shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business, but a smaller number may adjourn from time to time or may request attendance of absent members.
Quorum. The only notes that we have on that, Anthony suggested that this should be clearer, and 4 members of the council shall constitute a quorum.
Just
Well,
Leave it at that.
so what happens if you don't have a quorum? That would be 3 members are not a quorum. Can 3 members, and I've been told both, okay, irrespective of my preference, can 3 members meet? Okay, I don't
can't
agree
take
with 3
action.
members meeting
They
either,
can
but
meet. I
No,
guess they can't.
no,
They can meet,
no,
but they can't make a decision.
No, no.
That's
so-
state
So
statute.
this is, so the second half of that sentence after the comma, that's Phil explains that means that if a quorum is not met, the present members can adjourn the meeting to a later date and request attendance of the absent meetings at the next meeting. So that means they shouldn't be discussing town business at that point.
Even if it's recorded and there's public notice, that doesn't make sense.
So I did not
That
know,
means
I did
school
not know what the back half of that sentence
Ah.
meant. And so Phil was the one who provided that explanation.
that still doesn't really say that 3 members can't get together and discuss town business. I mean, this has always been a ball in the air. Sometimes various counselors and public officials will say, there's only 3 of you and that's fine. And other times, various counselors and public officials will say, 3 people can't talk.
Yeah, my
Okay.
concern would definitely be that if we get, if we don't
What?
clarify that in some sense, that if a quorum rule, I mean, if we just get rid of that other thing, I'm not sure. There are times when there are 3 members of council that may be present at some other event that's not going to require town business or action, but it still requires, correct me if I'm wrong, public notification, correct? So I think the quorum, why do we need that second? We don't need that, do we?
This,
A smaller number may adjourn from time to time. I mean, if it didn't meet,
Is it saying that they need to adjourn
that's
or
what
that
I'm
they
wondering. I don't
have the choice to adjourn?
I gotta tell you, I don't think,
know. Right, not an official meeting, but
that's why that
We,
closes. it.
we really don't want to have unofficial meetings.
say
Would
3 of
not
us show up
be a
at
good
a
idea.
school board meeting or committee meeting. How would that happen, Anthony?
So,
general public, when they're in.
yeah. So I think you're right, Aaron. I think you could probably get rid of that second half of that sentence because to answer your question, Carrie, the attorney says that if a quorum is not met, the present members can adjourn. He did not say shall adjourn.
Can adjourn.
There, I guess that makes it easier.
We can.
So
remove
that means 3 people can publicly discuss council business.
As long as it
Public,
follows the state statute.
right?
I think that they.
Well, that's what the attorney just said. I just, like, I've been in the Rotary a very long time, And for a very long time, there were at least 3 town councilors in the Rotary, and we always had to be very careful. You know, sometimes the meeting's over and you get there shooting the baloney, that kind of thing. And you need to stay away from town business. It's just a wise, you know, it's easy to slip into that.
Can we
You know,
reference
but-
the state statute in quorum as well? Can we put that in there? There's a state statute, correct?
You're good.
Well, we
But we wanted,
It is with the, out the second.
basically reading 4 members of the council shall constitute a quorum.
second.
All in favor?
Section 210, vacancies in council. If a seat in the town council becomes vacant more than 6 months prior to the next regular election, the council shall call a special election to fill the unexpired term within 60 days from the date the vacancy occurred. If a seat in the council becomes vacant less than 6 months but more than 90 days prior to the next regular election, the council may appoint a qualified person to fill the vacancy until the next regular election, at which time the unexpired term will be filled.
I
Any comments on
I
that?
think don't fix it if it's not broke.
Other than qualified, there was something about qualified.
Yeah, what are the qualifications? How is this determined? Okay. Qualifications. Okay.
So should we table that until we figure out what we want? Because that would, there would be language
Correct.
specific to saying we would not be appointing someone's spouse if there was a nepotism clause or something to that effect.
So we got to clear,
Oh.
yeah, we got to clarify 202 first.
I think we're going to keep it like
And I-
this because we tabled.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, I think that there were 3, I think, I've been known to have a bad memory, but I think there were actually 3 spouses that were appointed. Okay, and I remember when Ken Buck's spouse, I didn't think that she was going to ask for that. And so at that point, I wasn't on the council and I sent in a letter asking for the seat. And when I found out that she wanted to be appointed, I withdrew and she got the seat. But there was a lot of public sentiment that it might not be a good idea, because by that time it had been 3, that just to out of hand, make it an out of hand thing that a spouse automatically gets the seat. You know, I'm not sure that that's a,
I've never seen that in the charter.
Is it, yeah, where is that written?
it's not, it just became,
It's just been the practice of the council for the last.
yeah, it just
20
became
years.
kind of an ad hoc
You know, a
policy.
lot of, I mean, that's why, so back in the 30s, 40s, right? That was kind of the way it was for a long time, I believe. And if there was a death, that it went to the spouse in elected position. And I think for quite some time. I mean, it's been done a lot, not just like in a town council, but state representatives when
Really?
passed, yes.
Interesting.
Yep, so I think it's weird, but
Well, it's, now we have the chance.
Yes, we do have a chance.
Yeah.
And we're doing-
There were some rather poor jokes being spread around about, you know, if you get appointed, you're in the death seat, that kind of thing, you know, it's totally inappropriate. What?
we think twice about running. No, I'm just kidding.
Jeez.
So I guess we're gonna table that, right?
You should
And
table,
so
right.
I'll make a motion to table
Second.
section, okay.
All in favor? Section 210.
So 211 is rules of procedure, comma, journal. Okay, the council shall determine its own rules in order of business. It shall keep a record of its proceedings and record shall be open to the public for inspection. There were notes on that about just changing it to minutes, right, instead of record.
The records go into minutes, yes.
I think we just leave that alone. That's a long slope to go down.
Why does it say journal? So
Actually, I did a little research on this earlier last year. So that record of journal is actually how you govern yourself. So if you guys are using the Maine Municipal Association book to help govern yourselves, a book has to be in the office for any any citizen to have access to.
you will get auditors. Look it on YouTube.
Yeah. So that's what that journal is referring to.
What is that journal made up of?
It is made up of whatever the council is using to govern themselves. So right now they're using the Maine Municipal
Right?
Association guidelines. You guys are using Robert's Rule of Order. So that's what you guys are using. So if they switch to Robert's Rules of Order, that's what would the journal be. And the new copy of Robert's Rules of Order would have to be available in the town office for any citizen to have access to. The problem with the Maine Municipal Association is that citizens can get those books. It's very difficult to get them. If you have not tried to get one,
Well,
I recommend it.
we aren't currently obligated to go by Robert's Rules of Order. We never adopted it.
No, you guys did. This council did.
We did, but the
Yeah.
town council did.
No, the town council is using the Maine Municipal Association book right now.
So
It literally has to be on.
I'm not particularly in favor of the Roberts rules for the council. It's just too restrictive and it's too easy for people to, manipulate and delay, council actions.
You
We
want to
could-
leave this as is, then the council.
I would leave it as it is.
And Deb, as a town clerk, are you familiar with having to have that on hand?
It's referring to the minutes of the meetings that are kept in a book and they're kept in perpetuity, so they're always there. I think the town attorney did make a comment about the particular verbiage that was used here was referencing what's required as far as the FOAA laws go, but we're meeting that and then some with our minutes, so I'm good with keeping it just as is. It's
The record
standard
is the minute.
protocol.
Record /
Record is the minutes.
I'll keep it
Yeah, I mean, I think that
in the
a record of the
that-
meetings is sufficient, but if
Okay.
I'm not going to die in that hill. If you want to call it minutes, call it minutes, but
So I guess I'll make the motion to keep section 211 intact.
Second.
We'd miss you.
All in favor? Yep. Intact, yeah.
Section 212, ordinances. In addition to other acts required by law or by specific provision of this charter to be done by ordinance, these acts of council shall be by ordinance which, 1, adopt or amend an administrative code or establish, alter, or abolish any department, office, or agency. 2, provide for a fine or other penalty or establish a rule or regulation for the violation of which a fine or other penalty is imposed. 3, grant, renew, or extend a franchise. 4, regulate the rate charged for its services by a public utility. 5, convey or lease or authorize the conveyance or lease of any land of the town. 6, amend or repeal any ordinance previously adopted. Acts other than those referred to in the preceding sentence may be done by ordinance, by order, or by resolution. This is a pretty big section in my opinion.
This is a huge section.
I
Fine.
make a motion to table section 212 ordinances till our next.
Do you want to talk about any of the notes that may have been, because I think
Yeah.
you made notes.
I made notes. Anthony's got notes, the attorney's got notes.
Oh, you did? Oh, yes, we do have that's correct. Certainly don't.
Discuss that
Well, I
first.
think we're going to try to discuss it.
So, I mean, the Board of Trustees sets those rates and submits to Maine PUs for their approval or their review for the water district, wastewater and sanitary district, Maine PUC does not regulate those rates. The only thing that we could do is, Andy, are you on the utilities district? Yes, you are. That's the only way we can influence the utilities, by appointing council members to the Board of Trustees in those water district or utilities district, right? So that item number 4, we can't regulate that rate, so that should probably be removed from the charter. Right?
We can't legally regulate that?
No. Public utility.
The problem is, you might be right about the water district.
Just remember to move into your mic. They're having,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just too relaxed tonight. Do something to get me wound up now. I'll sit right up and go for it. We probably can't, the water district, but we have franchises which could be construed as public utilities like cable. And we can negotiate raise rates with, like, say, cable company.
With,
Yeah.
Cable television,
do
cable
have-
television is not a public utility.
you can't negotiate rates with a cable company. What you do with the cable company is you can regulate land use with the cable company. That's about
some
And fee.
municipalities,
fees for that land.
And
use.
franchise fees, but utility, cable television, internet lines, so forth, are not considered public.
some
utilities.
municipalities have adopted.
Some municipalities have, we have
Just
not.
keep that in mind. Like if we decided to go out and wanted, what is it called? Fiber optic, high speed stuff. Some municipalities have done that. Some municipalities actually do run some electrical, like the lights in their own town and stuff like that. So I think that's where that probably came from. That's my guess.
I guess that's covered in 212, number 4. When we grant renew franchises, we can negotiate rates. Yeah.
Well, you can't. not for a
Respect
public
for-
utility.
Yeah, you can't regulate the rates. You can negotiate the fees that you're going to receive from the cable company for the use of the easement.
Okay.
That's what that number 3 is all about.
Yeah. And as far as number 4 goes, our town attorney said that number 4 likely refers to any town-owned utility. If there are none, this should be deleted.
Right.
I kind of think if there are none, we should just leave it there because it makes no difference and we might find ourselves in a position to need that particular regulation at some point.
You can always amend.
But the problem is we do have a public utility here in town, but we don't have the authority to regulate its rates. That authority is for the board of the utility district
Right.
and the PUC.
I agree, it's just that a franchise would be a different situation. But we should just leave that there. It does no harm.
But a franchise is not a utility.
It's just defined as a franchise in number 4. And
Oh.
just leave it there. It's
No,
What if the,
what difference?
We don't have a public utility.
yeah, we refer to franchises in number 3.
Right. That's why I said at number 3,
That's what I mean, number 3.
so number 4, we agree that it can be removed? Right? Okay, so that's, make a note of
So
it.
you want to eliminate 4. I got the numbers upside down. We don't have any control over that. We might as well get rid of it. You're right.
Right. That one's coming. Change of violation of, with 4 instead of. It would be violation for which a fine or other penalty is imposed. Anybody else have thoughts? You agreed on deleting 4. I'm gonna
Is that a
guess.
motion? I'll make a motion to delete 4.
I mean, I'm thinking if need,
well, I think we can get through 212. I think 213
okay,
is probably going to be
more so, an issue, okay.
ordinances in general.
Oh, sorry. 12, which is a highlighted one. So I'll read that. The town council shall act only by ordinance or order or resolve. All ordinances, orders, or resolves, except resolves making appropriations, shall be confined to one subject, which shall be clearly expressed in the title. The appropriation resolves shall be confined to the subject of appropriations. No ordinance and no appropriation resolve shall be passed until it has been read on 2 separate days, except when the requirement of a reading on 2 separate days has been dispensed with a vote of 5/7 of the voting members of the council. A roll call vote shall be taken on the passage of all ordinances, orders, and resolves, and shall require affirmative votes of 4 council members, and shall take effect and be in full force immediately or at such other date as specified therein. I like it. And I understand why you need that specificity in the, being able to draft and put it on record.
So
7th.
the one,
Council.
I'm not sure if this fits in here, but it used to be, before I took over as chair, that on Friday afternoon, the councilors would get the agenda, which, for a Monday night meeting. And that what generally happens there is you have no time to really look things over and investigate things.
Changed.
Yeah, well, I asked that we start getting the agenda at least by Wednesday, so, but it seems to me it's been drifting in a little late lately, I don't know. No? No? Okay. I'll take your word for it, Anthony.
No, I like that.
I must
Somebody
compliment that.
Making a motion then?
No, I'm not making a motion, but I will take this opportunity to compliment Anthony because our town council agendas have been a lot more informative than they've ever been. I mean, one click and You
So
got the
I'll-
whole subject
I'm
matter.
just going to make a motion then for section 212 as proposed by the town clerk.
All in favor?
Oh boy, okay, section 213, ordinances in general procedure. The council shall act only by ordinance, order, or resolve, and all ordinances, orders, or resolves, except resolves making appropriations, shall be confined to one subject, which shall be clearly expressed in the title. The appropriation resolves shall be confined to the subject of appropriations. No ordinance and no appropriation resolve shall be passed until, is this the same?
Reading.
Did you combined, so should we,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, so I'll just
She's
keep going,
combined
so
them.
just keep that in mind, that is up now in 212, okay? Except when the requirement of a reading on 2 separate days has been dispensed with a vote of 5/5 of the voting members of the council. The yeas and nays shall be taken on the passage of all ordinances and entered on the record of the proceedings of the council by the clerk. The yeas and nays shall be taken on the passage of town order or resolve when called for by any member of the council. Every ordinance shall require, should probably say one final passage, the affirmative votes of a majority of the legal constituent council. Every ordinance before final passage shall be posted, marked proposed ordinance at the town hall, notice setting forth at least the title of the ordinance and the time and place for a public hearing shall be published at least 7 days prior to the public hearing, which may be held separately or in connection with a regular or special council meetings as may be adjourned from time to time. Is that the right? And shall take effect and be in full force 30 days from and after it shall have received full passage by the town council. No order or resolve shall take effect until 10 days after its passage, except for the town council may vote 5/7 of its members pass emergency orders or resolves to take effect at the time indicated therein, but such emergency orders or resolves shall contain a section in which the emergency is set forth and defined. Okay, that's, yep,
That's-
and we do have definitions in there to 13.1, 0.2, 0.3.
Well, you did a lot of reading. I'll read Deb's 213, 214, and 215. Because everything that you read is included part of 212, Deb's town clerk's proposed wording. Section 213.1, ordinance procedure. Every ordinance before final passage shall be posted, marked, posed ordinance at the town office. Notice setting forth at least the title of the ordinance, the time and place for a public hearing. Shall be published at least 7 days prior to the public hearing, which may be held separately or in connection with a regular special council meeting as may be adjourned from time to time. As used in this section, the term published means to post the ordinance or brief summary thereof at the town office and on the town website with a certified copy available in the clerk's office. Section 214 acts by order.
Point of order, just to save your voice, I'd be happy to take over and read them, because you sound a little hoarse,
I have dry.
if you don't mind.
Thank you, Bruce.
Section 214 acts by order. The council may act by order when it directs a municipal official take specific action, regulates municipal activities, regulates the use of municipal facilities, temporary or otherwise, and the like. Orders shall be used to authorize the issuances of bonds, notes, or other obligations of the town. Section 215 acts by resolution. Council may act by resolution when it provides for the performance of ministerial, administrative, and executive matters. The council shall act by resolution with respect to the town budget, appropriations, the purchase, lease, or conveyance of any town real estate, town real property.
So I had some comments early on and did a little more research and got some assistance from some people. But the appropriations I put in there, I'd like to see that any appropriation over 50,000 go to public vote. So found out, did some research. We had 37 appropriations over $50,000. If that had to go to vote, that would probably cost us $1 million in special elections, right? So it doesn't make any sense. So I kind of scrapped that idea. And I just wanted to share that with everybody.
And can I just ask, Deb, can you come up and just kind of go over, because 215 is going to be an additional section, and just kind of like the overview.
So the document that we're working off of, the original document, it looked like an attempt was made to highlight what the town council's actions should be, but it was muddled and confused and mixed in with ordinances in general. And so basically, I just retitled section 212, where in the old document, it's ordinances. I titled it Town Council Actions and expressed basically what it says later on down here, mixed in with all this other business, clearly specifies what the town council can act on. And then I renumbered, instead of ordinances, section 212, I made it section 213, acts by ordinance. And basically it's verbatim right through there, taking out the utilities
Yep.
that we talked about. And then I added 213.1, which was formerly section 213, and I called it ordinance procedure, which cleaned up this ordinance procedure, didn't change the context at all, except I took out that we're going to publish it in I think it's a newspaper. And Jim had made the comment to put it on the Facebook page. We will put it on social media, but I didn't want to lock ourselves into this for the next 10 years because social media changes. And we can't really post to the citizens web. We can't, it's not our page, so we can't do that. It could be shared, but
Just be more broad and just say whatever is available.
well, I said as used in this section, the term published means to post the ordinance or brief summary thereof at the town office and on the town website with a certified copy of it available in the clerk's office. That's the minimum
That's
that
the
we're going to
minimum,
do.
yeah, sure, yep, okay.
We're going
Gotcha.
to try to get as much out as we can. And then,
Yeah.
so I had to change the act by order to 214 to make room for what I added on at the top for town council actions. And then I just went on down the list, and 215, it was acts by resolution, because I want clearly defined definitions of what can be done and how it's done and what the orders and the steps are to be done. And I just cleaned it up. I didn't change the context at all. And it's user-friendly, it's specified what happens when and how you can act, so.
Thank you, Deb. Great. job.
Yeah. Did you have a question, Andy?
No, I just was thinking, not to get too locked in. I mean, I've been on the periphery of some right-of-way arguments, and the term always used is most common means of travel, okay? And you might want to just put some verbiage in there that says most common means of communication. So 20 years ago, it was the newspaper. Today, it's the internet. Everybody owns a cell phone, and you can't make people tune into the town website. If they want to know what's going on, they can open their cell phone and see what's going on. I mean, you know, just to keep it on things, I kind of signed up for that town council, not for the regular citizen posts. We get them regularly, you know, so I get them twice. I get one to the council and I get one as a citizen. So I know all those notices are going out, and none of our citizens really have an excuse for not knowing what's going on if they're interested to find out. So I don't know what you,
I mean, for the word, I guess you might want to, if that's the case, Andy, to address that, just say minimum.
at a minimum, most common means of,
Used in
Yeah.
the section, the term published means to post the ordinance or brief summary
Yeah.
thereof at a minimum, the town office and on the town website with a certified copy available at the clerk's office. That preserves the ability,
I would keep it more explicit for,
Do you want to add a minimum to that?
just that.
Yeah, sure.
It's fine. Who, what? Oh, he wants to speak. It's a hand. Is that a hand, Anthony? 7:46, a minute ago, okay. Is it reading the same thing that was linked?
No, it's not.
That's not on the agenda, right, Tom?
Deb, I have.
What section?
215 on the old.
But it just doesn't have a number.
Oh, so she's referring to the established already charter. So that would be the next section, which should have been labeled as 215. And it was just, it's not there. It's in between 214 and 216 as town clerk.
The number's not there. Right.
That we would have a duplicate number is what she's saying.
Yes. So I ended it here because I ran out of steam, but yes, I would intend to have that be 216. Yep.
And we're gonna have to bump everything else by one.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay. That's okay.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yep.
Uh,
Simplified.
Moves us to what is now going to be 216, section town clerk. The town clerk may act as a clerk of the town council and shall keep a public record where required of all proceedings of the council, including all roll call votes. The town manager may appoint a person other than the town clerk to act as clerk of the council.
That's fine.
Should we keep it as it is?
All in favor?
Who thirded it?
Wait, does it say we have to give her a raise?
I think,
Doesn't it say we have to give you a raise?
right. So just the number change on that.
Yeah.
And now, so I'm going to ditch the numbers and just go with the titles. Independent annual audit. Prior to the end of each fiscal year, the council shall designate the State Department of Audit or a qualified public accountant for the purpose of conducting the annual post audit of the fiscal year's municipal finances as authorized by law. Do we need any changes on that, Anthony?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's simple. There is no longer a
Office.
State Department of Audit. So I think if you just strike that and say the council shall designate a qualified public accountant for the purpose of conducting, and we do that via contract.
And Anthony, I will say there is a state statute which allows municipalities to work with the state auditor to conduct municipal audits. However, I think I asked them at one point for another quasi organization, and I don't think they remember the last time they did that. So I think striking it is fine.
Yeah, there are a lot of towns, as you probably well know,
Yeah.
Matt, who haven't had audits in years because they can't find an auditor. So if the state were going to do it for them,
They're not doing it.
Yeah.
Say that, yeah. I make a motion
Uh,
as recommended.
How should this section address the municipal municipal versus school auditing process? Because that should be,
So of course, further into the chapter, there is an article that's related solely to the schools. And I would suggest that maybe you have this same section right here in that article speaking to the need for an annual school audit.
Need either to have one or not have one.
Have one.
In the
Right
charter,
now,
add that to the charter.
Because right now, I have not been able to find,
Yes, it may not be on their website. They may not be, I don't mean this to be a pejorative, as diligent as we are in posting our audit. but they do have one because the same auditor who does our audit also does the school's audit.
I haven't found it online.
It's not posted online. It exists.
I think that the public should see that.
I'm the town manager, not the school superintendent.
So,
I realize that.
so what we should do then, if that's what you want, is that describe that in here, that it has to be done annually in both and publish.
Yeah, but there's an article in the charter about, so. Yeah. We'll get that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
The council shall appoint a town manager for an indefinite term and fix his or her compensation. The manager shall be appointed solely on the basis of his or her executive and administrative ability and qualifications.
So let's define indefinite.
Well, Anthony commented on that.
Oh, there are comments, yes.
Standard practice is that managers are contracted for a 3-year term.
Now, whether we,
Anthony?
basically you want to look to see if you want to be prescribed in charter, constitution of the town.
So.
If I were you-
All I'm saying is, Anthony's term didn't expire for another year, if I got that right. And then we just appointed him to another 3-year term.
You did not.
Irrespective of
You did
that.
not. You extended my contract by 2 years, so I'm
You-
currently on a 3-year contract.
Because of the,
Okay.
because of the initial.
So, but the thing is, the point I'm making is your 3-year contract hadn't expired. We extended it 2 more years in your second,
I'm still on a 3-year contract.
end of your second year, which gives you a 3-year contract.
Yes, I have
So
a
this
3-year
would be-
contract.
So what we care about here is whether it's prescribed in the charter.
Right. That's all I'm saying. And
If
I seconded your contract, Anthony, so I'm not
My-
arguing with your contract.
My recommendation is that it reads, the council shall appoint a town manager for a 3-year term. And rather than fix his or her compensation, that's not typically how contracts work now. And I'm comfortable with this, and this council has been comfortable with it, is to base compensation on performance. So I think the council should have the discretion to set the town manager's salary on an annual basis based on an evaluation of merit.
That's
and
despite
performance.
a 3-year contract, meaning that the contract, that would mean the salary or compensation is subject to review every year during that contract,
Yes,
up or down.
yes. Well, no, you
No,
should
go down.
not lower someone's salary.
Good.
If you're going to lower someone's salary, you should just go ahead and terminate them.
Well, or unless something changes, right? Like if the economy or something.
You should not lower someone's salary.
I understand negotiating
Geez,
tax.
Anthony, was
What
that
I
an
have-
invitation?
Huh?
Was that an invitation?
So,
Just telling you.
so what I have to consider when we're looking at this is this locks and changes what is available to the council's discretion. So appointing, saying for 3 years, fine, that could be, but there are instances when that may not be ideal. If, for instance, so if that's the case, we should have an exception in here for special circumstances such as, not jinxing you. He drops dead. And then we need to have something interim, an interim situation.
All right.
Which we did
I
have
think
as a
Correct.
council.
here's what I stated in my, and I sent it to you, you have it. Council should appoint a town manager for a 3-year term At the end of each year, the council to evaluate performance, decide on reappointment or removal.
Yeah.
It's every year
That does not work because
Evaluation
evaluation, but
based on
that would be
performance.
pay. We can't, because if
Right.
you do a contract, it has to be.
Oh, he's
locked
employed.
in
Yeah,
for
he's
3
not
years.
employed at will.
It has to be, the statute says it has to be for cause. So we can't just be like, oh boy, we don't like his tie anymore. It can't be like that.
Aaron,
Anthony,
would
could
you
you
be
address
open?
what you said earlier so we get an understanding?
So today, town managers typically have 3-year contracts. That's what I think should be in the charter.
Okay.
As for the compensation, then I think you could just say, just leave it to the compensation to the discretion of the council.
Yeah, I would agree.
I
So
think,
3 years is very obviously common, like you just said, and it's almost a benefit to us to lock them in for 3 years. As town managers are rather hard, as you well know, to find. But to open your concerns about the taking away some of your discretion on the town council, if you were to have like a 1st-year probationary period within the contract, is that something that would remove that ability? 3-year contract with a 1-year probation? or
Typically, it's a 6-month probationary
6 months?
period.
And so that gives you 6 months to make a decision to,
yeah, we
You're right.
kind of did that this time. We had a 6-month review.
If we're going to prescribe in the charter, then yes, I think that would then also have to be in the charter. And then some other, special circumstances.
And I don't know that you need to address interim town managers. I don't know that there are charters that address interim town manager situations. Everyone knows that once a town manager leaves, you're probably going to have someone serving on an interim
And
basis.
I see that, but where I go is then we hire someone interim and they say, nope, this is now a 3-year contract. And now I'm stuck with someone for 3 years that I might not have wanted for 3 years.
No, I would counter that. No,
Yeah.
that speaks to the town manager, doesn't speak to an interim position. And if you hire someone on an interim basis, you're going to have a contract with that person as well.
we had a contract when Jeff Kobrick left,
Yeah.
with an interim town manager, the guy from Monmouth.
there's several of them that are out there that
Yeah.
are expensive and you
Well,
know.
The question is not,
I would want to hear from Phil, I think.
And well,
About-
I don't really like the idea of facing the town manager with the idea of being dismissed every year if they don't qualify. I think we can leave the 3-year contract, but their compensation is what's going to tell the town manager if we say, no, we're not going to give you a raise.
Right.
We're not satisfied with your work. That's enough.
currently, when Anthony was hired, we had a 6-month clause
We
in his
did.
contract that we could review it.
Right,
And if it wasn't working out, we'd say bye.
right. That's a kind of
We
a.
passed that
period.
under a resolution,
Yep.
okay? It extended it to the 3-year contract as originally
Right.
proposed. I don't think there should be any change in that contract with the town manager.
I think it's fine. All I'm saying is, it was suggested that we might dismiss the town manager after a bad review.
Is
And I
there-
don't think we really, all of us that worked at will. But on the other hand, the possibility that you could just be dismissed every year is a little strong with what we expect of our managers. So we might decide they haven't done such a hot job and not give them a big raise, but we don't want them to face dismissal, unless they really, really make a mess. I wouldn't want to sign
Well,
a
then
3-year
that would be
contract.
that would be covered in the revisions, that if somebody was totally screwing up the job, town council could vote as to remove the town manager. Correct?
Yeah, but.
So that's already in there?
So
I
why
don't know.
would
It's
that?
kind of hard to
I'd like
have
to
the
know about the
sword of the
can we have
Damocles
some
hanging over
conversation
your
at a
head
time?
all the time.
Excuse
I'm
me.
sorry.
No, you were, there's another conversation happening here and we can't hear.
I don't know, I just don't really, many of us here know what it's like to work at will, and I just don't really like the idea of working at will with, a designated period where you got to face the firing squad and the trigger's going to get pulled or not pulled. I think that 3 years, unless
don't want to interrupt, but I wanted to also hear their point as
Okay.
well.
So, why do we need that in section 217? Because we already addressed that, in the Article 2, you see, town council duties, right? That the town council appoints the town manager or removes the town manager.
I think you guys may be overthinking it a little bit. It's simple. 3-year contract, compensation at the council's discretion. And-
Why does it need to be in there? Is my question.
Which part?
A year.
This
Like the
section
3-year
217,
is time.
appointment of a town manager, the council,
No, you could just say the
At
council
the
will appoint a
council
town
discretion.
manager.
it's already in there.
Right. I think that's what we do.
I think we removed that.
And I like the 6-month review because it gives,
But
The
that should be,
council
that should be a
negotiation
council,
when
that
you
should be a
negotiate the
negotiation
contract.
with the council.
Yeah, I think Jim is probably in there because it's one of the most important things that a council does is hire a manager. And so the charter's just speaking to that responsibility.
well, I think the 6-month review is a good thing because it will tell the manager what the council is thinking. And
You
the
don't,
manager
you
gets an
don't need
opportunity
to,
tell.
you don't, need that you're getting too far into the weeds. You don't need to include in the charter
charter.
what the probationary period for the town
Right, right,
manager
right.
will be.
Or year.
That's
It's
again,
still
that's,
allowable.
Put that in the charter, you're stuck with that.
yeah, that's a contract negotiation.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
That it shall be appoint a town manager for
I surrender.
3-year term.
217 seems, or whatever number it is for you guys, it seems to be a guideline for the council so that the council knows what their terminology and length should be when they hire a manager. So if you change the verbiage to a 3-year contract, whatever else you want to add, it just gives any town council member who is appointing a town manager just this point of reference saying, hey, in our charter, this is what we're going to do. Then you can negotiate your contracts a little bit differently. But bare minimum, anyone who's interested in Winthrop being a town manager, you know that you will have potentially a 3-year contract. There might be some other clauses in the contract, but that's what, it just gives a bare minimum, like,
And we don't need to spell out what the contract is.
yeah, it just.
Right.
That's between the council and
that I do not think that will pass the council. I think it should say the council shall appoint a town manager. Period. The manager shall be appointed solely on the basis of his or her executive and administrative ability and qualifications.
If that is a motion, I'll second it.
That's my motion.
like it.
Say it one, please.
Uh, The council shall appoint a town manager, period. Manager shall be appointed solely on the basis of his or her executive and administrative ability and qualifications, period. I don't think we need to talk about compensation or term. Or any, that should be up to the council. Ability and qualifications. My motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Section 218, removal of the town manager. The council may remove the manager from office for cause in accordance with the revised statutes of the state of Maine per Title 30. Needs a little bit of. by the except for the deal with this is solely through the manager, and neither the council nor any member thereof shall give orders to any subordinate of the manager, either publicly or privately.
We say they. Her.
I believe it states.
So here's what I would suggest is we're going to have to do a little bit of work, not just in rewriting some of what you discussed tonight, but also doing a little bit of research that you've asked us to do, both in consulting with our attorney and maybe consulting with our peers across the state. So we will do that. As soon as we incorporate the changes that you've talked about tonight, minus the things that need to be researched, we'll go ahead and send that to you ASAP so that you can review it and offer any changes that you think need to be made to it. As far as how quickly you want to meet on the sort of looking over that to say, yeah, we bless this and we're going to move forward, and then start the discussion on Articles 3 and 4. I'm not sure. I think we can get it done pretty quickly, but I'm not positive about that. I mean, some of it will depend upon how quickly the attorney can get back to us with some of our questions.
But we
Also do know that Gil's going to still be out of town on the 23rd. So
So October
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Plan to meet in October. I think that gives us plenty
I
of
know,
time.
I have the kind of conflict that I can't skip. It's pretty important.
So we,
So,
so we will do our due diligence. We will send you the notes that we've made in Articles 3 and 4 again. We will, as early as tomorrow, send you the rewrites that you've discussed tonight. And then as soon as we hear back from our peers and from the attorney, then we'll send that to you as well.
So the next meeting, the 7th of October, we're all in favor of that.
Tuesday of the month, right?
Second.
So the second,
Oh.
Yeah, we have to do it the first Tuesday of the month.
I thought we were doing
That's
first and
enough.
third. Yeah,
Second.
second and fourth. We should figure that out because I laid out.
Whatever we decided last time, we should do it. Yeah, whatever's in the
We
initial.
were doing off-council weeks.
Right.
So you want a 10-14?
Yes.
14th it is.
What do you want to do?
Be October 14th, so we're not doubling up on council weeks.
Columbus Day week.
Okay,
It's Monday.
if we meet the second time,
That would be following Columbus Day weekend. Is that okay?
okay, so October 14th is the second one,
Correct.
and then the fourth after that.
Well, let's make a decision, I think, at the next meeting. I think that's how we're going to have to do this.
Okay, I can,
October 14th.
October 14th.
mean it. No, I scheduled out October,
All right, as long as we have a quorum.
Town council meetings, the other.
We don't have any meetings in October, November. It's hunting season. Sorry.
That's right.
Okay, so the only thing we got ahead of us now is October 14th.
I don't think
We don't need them.
Already established.
14th.
So will that be like the second October of the month? Second Tuesday of the month? Can we plan that as a regular meeting day?
That's what we did.
Yes.
That's we.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
I know you're gonna hold my feet to the fire. I know that.
No, I just want to make the meetings and the more permanent the dates are, the easier it is. I'll run right out to the next half of next year now.
Okay, next agenda, consideration of approval of the minutes of the August 12th meeting.
I move to approve the minutes of the August 12th meeting.
Second, I'll give it to Mick.
Favor?
Mick,
Any other public comment? Shay?
I don't want to think about it.
Good job, everybody.
adjourn?
Second.
Motion.
I second.